Hi, it's Maya here, and today I'm going to talk about my TBR for the Spring into Horror Readathon. This is a 2-week long readathon that takes place April 17th to April 30th. And I have never taken part in this readathon before. The goal is to read at least one scary book during that time. So it doesn't have to be horror, it can be a thriller or a gothic horror or a mystery or anything that you deem a little bit scary. The readathon is hosted by the blog Seasons Reading, and I will link it down below. And I've been feeling like reading a little bit of horror lately, so I made a stack of books that I own, as well as one library book that I will be choosing from during the readathon. I don't plan to read all of these, but I like to have a variety that I will choose from. I'd like to read like one or two of these. So first I have a couple of modern classics. I have The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham, and this is about a bunch of scary children that are born to the parents in Midwich. All are blonde, all are golden-eyed, they grow up too fast and their minds exhibit frightening abilities that give them control over others. Creepy children. I'm all for it. The other modern classic is Hangs a Man by Shirley Jackson, which you might have seen a couple of times on my TBRs before, and I have never managed to read it. I like Shirley Jackson. I have read We Have Always Lived in the Castle and The Haunting of Hill House, which was really good. So I'm going into this blind. I've owned this for a while now, and I still don't know what it is about, so I'm interested to find out. And the final one of my own physical books is A Murder of Angels by Caitlin R. Kiernan, and this is a sequel to her first novel, Silk. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Silk. I've enjoyed other books from Kiernan that I've read, but I do own this sequel, and it is written quite a long time after Silk. It continues the story of Nikki Key and Daria Parker. And I've heard that it does a pretty good job of recapping what happened in Silk. So I don't have the feel that I need to reread Silk or something. It's been a while since I read it, and I really don't want to reread it since I didn't like it that much. It wasn't a favorite or anything, so Murder of Angels. I also have a few scary books on my Kindle. I'm not counting all the gothic horror classics that I have currently here, but I have 2 horror books that I quite recently bought. I bought Experimental Film by Gemma Files, and if you want to know more about that, I did try a chapter tag where I read the first chapter of this and really liked it and decided that that was the next Kindle book that I want to read. So I will definitely be starting that one and getting really into it. And then I also bought Wilding Hall by Elizabeth Hand just a week or so ago when it was on sale for the Kindle. And Wilding Hall is a short, almost novella-length book about... Well, I'm just gonna read on Goodreads what it's about. When the young members of a British acid folk band are compelled by their manager to record their unique music, they hole up at Wilding Hall, an ancient country house with dark secrets, of course. There they create the album that will make their reputation, but at a terrifying cost. Julian Blake, the group's lead singer, disappears within the mansion and is never seen or heard from again. Now, years later, the surviving musicians, along with their friends and lovers, including a psychic, a photographer, and the band's manager, meet with a young documentary filmmaker to tell their own versions of what happened that summer. But whose story is true? And what really happened to Julian Blake? I had to pick it up when I read that. It sounds so creepy, and I like things with creepy houses and bands. And finally, the one library book that I have is a Finnish horror novel called Musta Kuu, which means Black Moon. It is written by Mia Vänskä, and this is about this isolated village of cabins that people can rent and go on vacation. And there are a bunch of different people, and of course there's an ancient sacrificial place nearby, and nothing good happen to them. I read the first page before I borrowed this, and it was like the police at the scene after everything that happens, and they don't know what happened to the campers. So this is the stack that I will be choosing from, as well as the Kindle books. And I also have the Dracula audiobook. I started listening to it in November, and I listened to the first part with Jonathan Harker in Dracula's Castle, and then it shifted to England, and I sort of started reading other stuff and forgot about it. So I would be happy if I could listen to at least a couple of chapters more of Dracula during this readathon, but we'll see if it happens. I'm bad at listening to audiobooks. So that's all from me. If you are taking part in this readathon, definitely let me know, because I don't think this readathon is huge on BookTube. I would be interested in checking out some TBR videos and learning what sort of horror books you like. Let me know in the comments or link to your videos or whatever, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!